disrupted.
America that I fought for.
Weird thing to happen.
Hello, one and all. Welcome to this edition of Kitz Corner. It's been a fantastic day so far. So Ben Shapiro, back like a cold sore, is appearing once again in my timeline, and I don't know why. I don't really follow. I don't really mention or care much about it. But I had to take a moment on what he said recently on his show, because it's amazing that Ben Shapiro will take the most rational things, like retirement, and make it seem like the most out-of-control berserk thing ever. Not, the irrational spending of the war industrial complex that we've spent trillions upon billions upon trillions of dollars overseas to slaughter one another. That's not crazy to him. That's actually the most ethical, because, killing other people in the name of being the superior authority of the world is the greatest thing ever. But making sure your grandparents are eligible after putting in many hours of work, being able to enjoy their golden years, that apparently is the most crazy thing. It's so crazy, I thought he was going to do like a Marty Doc Brown kind of Back to the Future impression. It's crazy! But he didn't. And thank God, because this may be the most absurd take I have heard Ben Shapiro ever say. So listen how he's going to break down how retirement is the most crazy thing imaginable.
About this. It's insane that we haven't raised the retirement age in the United States. It's totally crazy. Joe Biden, if that were the case, Joe Biden should not be running for president. Hey, Joe.
It's insane. It's crazy. Not the upward transfer of wealth to Wall Street, not the fact that we siphoned the economic stance in America to overseas wars, not that, not the cost of living, not inflation, not the fact that our jobs are being sent overseas to work for shittier countries and a shittier economy. Not the fact that the American working class is collapsing. No. The fact your grandparents or your parents or anybody older than you who has put in the time and effort, put in their finances to be able to retire, are going to retire. That's the most crazy thing to Ben Shapiro. God bless this guy. Honest to God. I'm not a fan of his. I think he's just a cowardly weasel. He's definitely a Mossad agent. And every time he makes these horrible stances, I feel better about myself. And that is why I'm an advocate for free speech. Not only because of the principle of the matter, obviously speech be applied to everyone regardless of who you are. But if we don't have the Ben Shapiros of the world, I feel a bit better about myself. I feel a bit better about myself because there's people like this. There's people that are going to lecture you about their horrible stance of why retirement is such a bad thing, but never ever scrutinize the fact that somehow we're able to send billions of dollars of your money, your hard-earned money, sending billions of dollars to corrupt nations to massacre each other in ordinance of capitalism, in ordinance of the military-industrial complex, so that weapons manufacturers can benefit off of your death and disparity. That never ever gets scrutinized, but you enjoying your golden years is the most horrific thing ever. And by the way, he throws in Joe Biden as an example. Well, because of his age, he should retire. No. Joe Biden should not be president because of his mental instability. I wouldn't even want Trump to be president. The fact that we have two of the most awful old candidates imaginable as your Democratic pick to run this country is a disgrace. It's not so much the age, it's the mental capacity of these people. It's the decline. It's the fact that we don't have good, eligible, smart people who are responsible enough, who are able to tackle the job of the highest order of the land. That's why Joe Biden is awful for president. Not because, he's just 81.
Joe Biden is 81 years old. The retirement age in the United States at which you start to receive Social Security and you are eligible for Medicare is 65. Joe Biden has technically been eligible for Social Security and Medicare for 16 years, and he wants to continue in office until he is 86, which is 19 years past when he would be eligible for retirement. No one in the United States should be retiring at 65 years old. Frankly, I think retirement itself is a stupid idea unless you have some sort of health problem.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So not only is it bad at 65, the entire institution of retirement, something that's been around for generations, is the stupidest idea ever. Can you really be that freaking stupid? Can you really be that mindless and clueless about the working class people? I mean, he sits in a fancy studio all day getting paid by advertisers to look like this kind of buffoon. And this is the stuff he blurts out. Like, does Ben Shapiro honestly want, the 90-year-old firefighters that could, crack their back at any instant to rescue you? Should we have 100-year-old cops trying to track down criminals with their walkers and canes? Are you that oblivious to the working class conditions of America and society as a whole? Are you that goddamn blind? And frankly, why not stop there? Why do we even have child safety laws? Why we have child labor laws? We should just get, young kids also in the workplace, because hey, they're born, they can work. You're born, you work, and you die. That's apparently the philosophy of Ben Shapiro. That, you don't need to actually enjoy life. You don't actually need, why even have weekends? Why have 8-hour workdays? Why, all the things that workers have fought and won because they're fighting stance because of how many hours and contributions they have put in. Why even have any of that? Holy Jesus. Wow. Like I said, thank God for people like him, because it makes me feel good about myself. I feel giddy every time Ben Shapiro takes a horrible goddamn take.
Everybody that I know who is elderly, who has retired, is dead within 5 years. And if you talk to people who are elderly and they lose their purpose in life by losing their job and they stop working.
So his excuse is, well, eventually retired people die. So it's forget actually dying at home and enjoying what little life we have on this earth. I think it's very important for the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness of America that you die at your workplace. It is very vitally important that you, as a citizen, be born into this world, sign up for some corporate greedy-ass fucking job, or some low-wage minimal job where they treat you like crap because you're basically worthless, because that's the real meaning of life, and then work yourself to the point of death. And then you'll just heel over and die at your workstation. They'll probably just blame you because, God forbid, you're a human being. The purpose of being a human being is finding your own purpose. That's why it takes years. That's why people go outside the workplace. Do you ever wonder why people are so depressed at their workstations? Do you ever wonder why people change their jobs constantly or go back to school or try different pursuits? That's why. The pursuit of life is finding the pursuit. Not committing yourself to dying at whatever workstation you're at. That's not the true intentions. And by the way, if there are older people that want to continue on working, if that's truly their passion, by all means, go right for it. But that's their individual choice. That's their individual choice if they want to choose so. It shouldn't be forced upon everybody because you have a difficult stance and understanding of what retirement is. Something that's been around for decades. Decades!
Things go to hell in a handbasket real quick. But put all of that aside, just on a fiscal level.
So why in the golden years, the early 50s, when there was people retiring, the greatest generation or the generation before that, when they were retiring, why didn't the economy collapse? Why are we still on our own 2 feet at this point? We have hundreds of people that retire every single year. Why is the economy just collapsed? It literally baffles me that he has to take the time and opportunity on his show to make a stupid-ass, ridiculous quotation of himself for retirement when literally we're shipping off trillions of dollars of debt to slaughter people in other countries. It's amazing that doesn't get scrutinized. But something like allowing workers that paid their contributions to enjoy what little they have of their life is detrimental. Wow.
On a logical level, when Franklin Delano Roosevelt established 65 as the retirement age, the average life expectancy in the United States was 63 years old. Today, the average life expectancy in the United States is close to 80. It's totally insane that you believe that you should be able to work.
What? It's totally insane that people are living more? I'm confused on why he said that's totally insane. I don't know why that's insane. Oh my God, it's totally insane that people aren't dying younger. Like, does Ben Shapiro want to go back to the biblical age where children are married off at 10 years old and then they work and then they die at like 43 because that's considered old age? Are we getting to that point now? Are we getting to that point? Oh my God. The age expectancy is now up to 80. Holy crap. People are actually living longer. That's just, I mean, it should not be shocking that this is coming from a pro-war, pro-genocide weasel like Ben Shapiro, who wants to massacre as many people overseas, including people here in America, and then complain that people are living longer and they want to enjoy life and, you know, putting their money into their own retirement is such havoc. It's going to ruin the economy. The exact same bullshit you hear every time they say about raising the minimum wage. Every time they have said about raising the wage. Oh my God, the economy is going to collapse. Jobs are going to disappear. They're going to be replacing you with robots. They're going to replace you with foreigners. You know what? It doesn't matter what wage they put onto the table. They're going to do it regardlessly. They're going to do it regardlessly. I mean, the fact that AI is advancing and that's already taken over the workplace, there's nothing stopping it. You can have a minimum wage of $100 or $0. It wouldn't matter. And by the way, they've seen improvements. There's countless reports of improvements of raising minimum wage and allowing people to retire. It works in other countries. They've been doing it for years. They advocate on this.
Work from the time that you are essentially 20 to the time that you are 65, which is a 45-year period, pay in, and then you will receive Social Security benefits sufficient to support you and your family, you and your wife or whatever, for like another 20 years. That's crazy talk. That is not fiscally sustainable. The notion that if you have to raise the retirement age to 67 or 68, that everyone is going to fall apart. My parents are that age. My parents are not retired. And they shouldn't retire. It would be very bad for them to retire. By the way, it's disrespectful to people who are 67, 68, 69 years old to suggest that they are in the same shape as people who are 65 were in 1940. It's not true.
Again, I want to reiterate this. If people want to go back to work and continue working, that is their choice. I'm not forcing people to say that, hey, you're at 65, retire. I'm saying that people that have dedicated their time and efforts and made contributions and have worked that extensive period to be able to retire should be able to retire. That's what I'm defending on. His defense is no one should retire, period. No one should retire, period. My parents should retire. I don't think they're, incapable of retiring. They should continue on working. Again, that's their choice. That's Ben Shapiro's parents' choice. That's not Ben Shapiro's choice. That's not my choice to tell him how his parents should live. This is such absurdity. Such absurdity. Coming from this god-awful, shit-faced weasel, Ben Shapiro, who, again, every time he has a horrible take, it just the rest of the world just gets a bit of glee because they just feel a bit better about themselves. Which, by the way, I quote by saying, again, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, to heel over and die at your workplace because the feckless Mossad weasel Shapiro finds your retirement crazy. Workers pay into their own retirement. Why is it that retirement be scrutinized, but billions extra to foreign wars isn't? So, again, that's the simplified version of the point that I'm making. That we are wasting money slaughtering each other instead of investing money, which is what retirement is. It's investing into your old age. It's investing into your future. No one ever looks at retirement as an investment. They think that's a sacrifice. Oh, you're sacrificing. No. You're investing that if you want to get out of the workplace, if you want to enjoy time with your grandkids, if you want to pursue hobbies and interests and activities, you are allowed to do so. How difficult understanding that has to be for Ben Shapiro to not understand this. And here's also, I want to point this out too, because Glenn Greenwald also retweeted this and said to this, regarding Ben Shapiro's Form A studio demand that the retirement age for all Americans be raised. When French workers protest against that, Jean-Luc Mélenchon gave a powerful speech on centrality of non-work time for human fulfillment. So they tried to do this in France. They tried to do this in European nations. They want to raise the retirement age. And I remember in France, that was part of the whole, a lot of it had to do with the Yellow Vest movement, also because of gas taxes. But France went to a complete chaotic, epic blowback towards this. There was a complete brawl against raising the retirement age because they know that this is an attack on working class people, that this is an attack on people and their pursuits, their ability, their individuality done by the oligarchy. They knew that they were getting tricked. They knew that this is a scam, that raising the retirement age to think that this is somehow beneficial to them isn't. And here's what this guy in France, who was part of that protest, this is what he had to say.
La vérité, c'est qu'ils n'ont pas compris pourquoi nous sommes là.
Oh, so let me read this off to you.
La vérité,
the truth
c'est qu'ils n'ont
is
pas
that we
compris
haven't understood why we're
pourquoi
here.
nous sommes là. Nous ne
We
défendons
aren't
pas
only
seulement,
standing for
mais
those
serait
this
suffisant,
would be enough.
le droit
The right for a
de
pause in
marquer la
existence.
pause dans l'existence. Mais surtout, nous disons,
But above all, we say the
le
time
temps
of our
de la vie,
life, the
celui qui
time
compte,
which
ce n'est pas
counts,
seulement
isn't only the time you
celui que
believe
vous
useful,
croyez utile, parce qu'il produit.
because it's producing.
Le temps
Time
n'est pas seulement le temps
isn't
contraint qui
only
est
the time
socialement
under
utile,
constraint, useful to
celui du
society.
travail.
The time spent
C'est aussi
working.
le temps libre.
It's also
Et
free
le temps
time.
libre, c'est le temps de la
And
vie,
free
non
time
pas
is a time
inactive,
in life that is not
mais de la vie
inactive,
dont on
but
dispose
it's
soi-même,
what's left up to
où l'on
ourselves.
décide soi-même de ce que
We
l'on va faire.
ourselves decide what we will do.
C'est-à-dire
That means
vivre humainement et
living in a
socialement
human, social
pour y
way.
faire non pas ce que d'autres
To do not what others have
ont
decided,
décidé, mais que ce que soi-même
but
on a
what we
décidé de
ourselves
faire.
have decided to do.
Vivre,
To live,
aimer,
to love,
ne rien faire si l'on
to
veut,
do nothing if we
s'occuper
like,
des siens,
to attend our loved ones,
lire de la poésie,
to read
faire de la
poetry, to do
peinture,
painting, to
chanter
sing,
ou ne
or to
rien
do
faire.
nothing.
Le temps libre est
Free time
celui
is
où
the
nous
time
avons la
when we have the
possibilité d'être
possibility
totalement humains.
To be fully
Voilà de quoi
human.
nous parlons.
That's what we're talking
Et ils
about.
disent
And they
qu'il
tell
faut
us
travailler
you have
davantage.
to work more.
Mais alors nous
But
demandons
we then ask, well, for what
quoi faire?
purpose?
Pourquoi,
Why?
quand la tendance générale
When
du
the
siècle
general
passé
trend
a
of the
été
last
de
century
diviser le
was
temps de
to cut the
travail
necessary
nécessaire
working
par
time in
deux,
half
qui ont augmenté ce que l'on
and to
appelle la
increase what we
richesse
call
par
wealth 50
50.
times over.
Pourquoi faudrait-il travailler
Why is it necessary to
davantage?
work more?
Pourquoi faudrait-il
Why is it
produire
necessary to
davantage?
produce more?
Non, la clé de l'avenir et du
The
futur,
key to
c'est
tomorrow to the
Ce n'est
future
pas
is
de
not to
produire
produce more.
davantage. Parce que ça, c'est la mort assurée de la
For
planète.
that is guaranteeing the death of the planet. So that's an interesting take to that. And that, my friends, is what should be the pursuit of happiness. That should be the pursuit, the purpose of life. Because the whole idea of being on this earth and understanding what the meaning of life is to find what the meaning of life is. Sometimes it may be your workplace. Sometimes it isn't. Maybe it's poetry. Maybe it's hobbies. Maybe it's caring to loved ones, you know, looking after your family, raising your family. Maybe it's farming. Maybe it's planting. Maybe it's gardening. Who knows? The whole idea and the reason why life is a journey is because it is a journey. You don't just get told to work the rest of your life because that's the only option you have in this world. No, it's a option. You have many options to look forward to, and that's why people choose their retirement so they could fulfill part of their livelihood, part of their human abilities to look for opportunities. Maybe they want to play shuffleboard. Maybe they want to, you know, learn some new skills. Maybe they want to be around their grandkids before they die. And considering Ben Shapiro is supposed to be this family man, I thought that would have been a one take that would destroy his argument there. Don't you care about, you know, your grandparents seeing their grandkids grow up? Or, you know, as you point out that if they're retired, they're just going to die anyway. So screw it. Why be with your loved ones? Why be with your family when you just work constantly for the rest of your life? And also to point out, because clearly Ben Shapiro is so clueless on this, they're already working on raising the retirement, dummy. And this is from 2 years ago. And this is continuing on, by the way. The Social Security retirement age increases in 2022. Workers with an older retirement age get smaller Social Security payments throughout retirement. They're already increasing it. It's already happening. So this idea that Ben Shapiro is stuck in like 20 years ago thinking that retirement is still at 65, God, no. They wish retirement was at 65. They wish retirement was at 60. But it's not going to happen because we live in an oligarchy that does not give a crap about working class conditions. They don't give a crap about human lives. They don't see what people in France are fighting for. They don't see what working class people have been fighting for years. And they don't see the benefit to any of this. They don't see how this is actually an investment. Your retirement is investing into your future. And the fact that we're wasting money overseas and doing corruption around the world to massacre, slaughter, and kill one another when we could be investing in the livelihoods of individuals in America. It's just beyond mind-blowing that Ben Shapiro is arguing the worst of the worst. And I really want to ask him if there were ever an opportunity after seeing that notation, after seeing what he said on his podcast there, I really want to know, at what point does human beings, individuality kick in? You know, you're supposed to be this guy who's for freedom and liberty, and that's why you don't want the government to intrude on everybody. I thought you were supposed to be this, like, conservative libertarian. Well, what's more libertarian than not constantly working for the man constantly and being told by the state when to retire when you can take your finances and be able to retire? Like, I find it so insane. I find that insane more than the idea of retirement insane. Something that's been around for decades, for generations. And you know, when Ben Shapiro gets old and he starts, you know, fading away and having health problems or whatever, is he going to look back at this and think that he was wrong? Is he going to look back at this and say, maybe I shouldn't have said that, or maybe I could look into a different take on what should be done with retirement instead of just saying it's all crap. Anyway, that's Ben Shapiro for you, the Weasel.